Paris, California, a quiet street in a quiet town. To any passerby, the beige two-story home at 160 Muir Woods Road looked unremarkable. Curtains were usually drawn, the yard bare, with only the faintest sound of children sometimes drifting out. Neighbors waved, but rarely received a wave back. Nothing about the house seemed extraordinary. And yet, behind those walls, 13 children were living through one of the most disturbing stories of abuse and captivity in modern American history. On the night of January 14, 2018, 17-year-old Jordan Turpin climbed out of a window. It was dark, the air cool. She clutched a deactivated cell phone she had secretly found, her hands shaking as she crept into the street. The phone couldn't dial anyone casually, but it could call one number, 911. For Jordan, this was her only chance. She had been planning this moment for 2 years, rehearsing what she would say, convincing herself that escape was even possible. Terrified that her parents might wake up and drag her back, she dialed. The dispatcher answered, and Jordan's voice came trembling but steady enough. She explained that she had 12 siblings, that her parents abused them, that some of them were chained to beds inside the house. The operator pressed her for details, unsure what to make of this frightened teenager. Children exaggerate after all. Runaways invent stories. But the terror in Jordan's voice was undeniable. Deputies from the Riverside County Sheriff's Department were sent to check. When they knocked on the door of the Turpin house, David and Louise Turpin appeared. David was tall, with thinning hair, quiet, almost expressionless. Louise spoke more, confused and irritated that the police had come. The deputies entered, and the smell hit them first. Rotting garbage, human waste, moldy food. The house was chaos, trash piled on surfaces, filth everywhere. And then they saw the children, pale, thin, frail. Some were shackled, others bruised, all filthy. The officers initially assumed they had discovered a group of minors, but as the investigation unfolded, they realized something even more shocking. 7 of the 13 siblings were actually adults, aged between 18 and 29, yet they looked like children. Years of starvation had stunted their growth. One daughter, 29 years old, weighed only 82 pounds. A 12-year-old had the arm size of an infant. The Turpin case was not neglect in the usual sense. It was something darker, systematic torture carried out in secret, hidden in plain sight for decades. The world soon asked, how could this happen? How did no one notice? To answer that, we need to understand David and Louise themselves and the strange world they built for their family. David Turpin was born in 1961 in West Virginia. Quiet, intelligent, socially awkward. He was known for his odd, almost old-fashioned behavior. He wore suits and bow ties to school, read constantly, and kept mostly to himself. He went on to study engineering at Virginia Tech, later securing well-paid jobs at Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman. On paper, he was a respectable professional. In life, he remained withdrawn, a man with little connection to the world around him. Louise Robinette, born in 1968, also came from West Virginia. Her childhood was far more troubled. Family members later revealed she had suffered abuse within her own family. That cycle of trauma marked her early years and would resurface in devastating ways. When Louise was just 15, she met David, who was 22. Despite the age difference, they quickly became involved. At 16, she married him. Together, they created an image of a devout Pentecostal couple who believed God wanted them to have many children. And they did. Between 1988 and 2015, Louise gave birth to 13, 10 daughters and 3 sons. From the outside, they looked like a large, devoted family. Matching outfits, carefully staged photographs, trips to Disneyland. Relatives described the Turpin Christmas cards and Facebook posts as almost too perfect. All the children lined up in coordinated clothing, smiling obediently. But those smiles hid another reality. Behind closed doors, the children were kept isolated, punished, and starved. By the late 1990s, the Turpins were living in Texas. That's where the abuse began to escalate. In 2007, David and Louise moved 10 of their children into a trailer on their property, while keeping the youngest 2 with them in the main house. The older children were left to survive with almost no food. Jordan later recalled eating ice, mustard, or ketchup just to keep going. The trailer itself was filthy, garbage everywhere, dead animals, ropes tied to beds. The children's education was reduced to religious instruction and obedience lessons. They were denied normal childhood experiences, stripped of freedom and dignity. The rules were strict and enforced with violence. Any disobedience meant beatings, chaining, or starvation. Bathing was rare. Some children were allowed to wash only once a year. They were told outsiders were dangerous, that police would hurt them, that escape was impossible. This isolation worked. Most of the children knew nothing of the world beyond their parents' control. Occasionally, the Turpins orchestrated trips to Disneyland or Las Vegas. To neighbors and passers-by, it looked like wholesome family fun. But the outings were part of the facade. The children were dressed identically, coached to smile, to look happy. In truth, they were emaciated, exhausted, and terrified. In 2014, the family moved to Paris, California, into the suburban home where the truth would finally come out. Neighbors noticed strange things. The children never played outside. When they were seen, they were pale, silent, walking awkwardly, sometimes skipping instead of walking. They avoided eye contact, but in a world where people respect privacy and assume families are fine, no one intervened. Inside, life was unbearable. The children were chained to beds for weeks or months as punishment. They were beaten with belts or objects. Food was controlled to the point of starvation. A 29-year-old looked like a teenager. A 17-year-old barely understood what medicine was. They lived surrounded by trash, the air thick with stench. And yet, on Facebook, Louise posted smiling family photos, as though nothing was wrong. By 2018, the children were desperate. Jordan, then 17, had begun secretly watching music videos online, glimpses of a world she had never known. She started to believe escape was possible. She and her siblings whispered plans, though fear often silenced them. Finally, Jordan and one sister slipped out a window. Her sister panicked and turned back, but Jordan kept running, clutching the old phone. And then came the 911 call that changed everything. When deputies entered the Turpin house, they uncovered not only children chained to beds, but hundreds of journals. The children had documented years of abuse, starvation, confinement, the terror of their daily lives. Those journals painted a picture of systematic cruelty, not moments of anger, but a deliberate pattern of control. David and Louise were arrested that night. The charges were staggering. Multiple counts of child abuse, torture, false imprisonment, and abuse of dependent adults. In 2019, both pleaded guilty to 14 felony counts. They were sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years, though experts agree parole is unlikely. The aftermath was complicated. The children were hospitalized, treated for malnutrition, heart damage, and developmental issues. They were placed in foster care, but tragically, some suffered new abuse at the hands of foster parents, leading to lawsuits against Riverside County. At the same time, donations poured in from the public, hundreds of thousands of dollars meant to help the Turpin children rebuild their lives. But court-appointed guardians controlled those funds so tightly that some of the children couldn't access them for basic needs. Despite these setbacks, many of the siblings have begun to recover. Some are in college, some working, some living independently. Jordan herself has spoken publicly, sharing her story in hopes of raising awareness about abuse and the importance of speaking up. The Turpin case forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. How did this go unnoticed for so long? Why didn't neighbors, schools, or social services intervene earlier? How many other families are hiding behind drawn curtains and smiling Facebook posts, masking lives of abuse and neglect? What makes this story unforgettable isn't only the horror of what happened inside that house, It's the courage of a 17-year-old girl who risked everything to free herself and her siblings. In the face of unimaginable fear, Jordan Turpin chose to act. Her voice on that 911 call ended decades of silence, exposing a nightmare and giving her family a chance at freedom. The Turpin children's story isn't over. They continue to navigate trauma, systemic failures, and the challenge of building new lives. But their survival and Jordan's courage remain a testament to resilience. Out of the shadows of a house of horrors, they are writing a different future, one built not on fear, but on hope.